Hey YouTube, it's Tom here for the AoStation, and this is currently February 13th of 2012, and the show's running a little bit late. I do apologize, but that is because of a mixture of the fact that Noah and I are both in school right now, and because we're lazy. So Noah's not here today because he's currently studying for a test, but that leaves me. So unfortunately, last week there really wasn't that much news to talk about. Kind of going to blame that on the fact that Heroes of New Earth and League of Legends don't come out with new content every week necessarily. They may release a balance patch or an alt avatar or some sort of cosmetic change, but they usually don't add new content every week. So we might have to switch up the formula for this show to accommodate that. We might actually end up having extra guests on those weeks when there isn't much news to talk about the games themselves. But we're not going to get into that right now because there is actually news. We do have some news coming out of a couple of the games that we cover. So I guess let's get into it real quick. Um, First of all, in Dota 2 news, there is nothing. But this has been their second week in a row, and they do apologize dearly. Um, They don't want to get fired, they say, but what they're doing actually is they're preparing Dota 2 for an open beta. Um, and what I mean by that is letting everyone join the beta. The reason why they only have beta keys right now and it's kind of a closed beta is because they don't have enough servers to occupy that amount of people. So what they've been doing these last 2 weeks, or in their downtime without patches, is they've been sending people around the country, not around the country, around the world, excuse me, to set up new servers everywhere that there would be people that wanted to play. So it looks like they're kind of starting to set up for a open beta, a universal beta. Um, so that seems really good. Even though there isn't actually any new content, that is good news to come out of the Dota 2 front. But from there, we're going to transition over to League of Legends. And the new hero has actually been revealed. His name is Nautilus. He's the Titan of the Depths. And he looks like a deep sea diver, which is actually really cool. A lot of the League of Legends characters, in my opinion, are kind of uninspired, a little boring, kind of generic. But this character actually looks really cool and really unique. Kind of reminds me of a character from the fighting game Guilty Gear, who she used an anchor as a weapon. I've always kind of been fascinated about anchors as weapons, which is why I like Tidehunter from Dota so much. But he looks amazing. So let's move down to his skills. We'll skip over his pictures for now. His passive ability is Staggering Blow, and his first basic attack against a target deals bonus physical damage and immobilizes the opponent briefly. Staggering Blow cannot trigger on the same target more than once every 12 seconds. Okay, so he pretty much gets a bash. If you're familiar with AOS and MOBA games, he gets a bash with a cooldown that so it can't affect the same person within a certain cooldown. Okay, that's really cool actually. So that means that if you switch off targets, you're gonna be able to increase your DPS drastically while also spreading the CC around. That's interesting. But let's see if this actually integrates into his other skills. His first active ability is Dredge Line. Nautilus throws his anchor forward. If he hits an enemy, he'll drag himself to his target and his target to him. So this seems pretty much just like Gauntlet from Heroes of New Earth's ability. If he hits terrain, he'll drag himself to the terrain and the cooldown is reduced. Okay, so it's both his escape and his initiation, as well as CC. That's interesting. His second active ability is Titan's Wrath, which Nautilus places a shield on himself. Come on, guys. Everybody and their mother has a shield ability. Sorry. He places a shield on himself that absorbs damage based on his maximum health. While the shield is active, his attacks deal bonus damage over time to units around him. Okay, so it's both a nuke and a defensive cooldown. That's interesting. His third ability is Riptide. Nautilus slams the ground, causing the earth to ripple out in waves. Each wave deals damage and slows the target's hit. The slow decays over time. Multiple waves that hit the same target deal reduced damage. Okay. And his ultimate is Depth Charge. Nautilus launches a depth charge towards a target that picks up speed as it travels. This charge knocks up all enemies it encounters while traveling and explodes on impact, stunning the target and launching them into the air. Actually, this guy seems a lot like Gauntlet. Um, if I'm reading this correctly, it seems kind of like his ultimate is like Gauntlet's ultimate in that it targets a target, and but also has an effect to people it runs by as well. Um, and he's got the hook ability, as you can see here. Let me load that up for you guys. There you go, the hook ability, as you can see there. Um, so he seems a lot like Gauntlet from Heroes of New Earth, but that's just nitpicking. That's just similarities. I'm sure he doesn't actually play anything like him. Um, I like him overall. The only point I would make is that the passive doesn't necessarily synergize with any of his other abilities. Of course, it's a good passive to have on any hero, but it's not one of those things like the last hero we covered, whose passive was integral to all of her abilities. So that is a very interesting character. Uh, if you want to see the image again, there we go. He looks very cool. Um, yeah. So I guess we're gonna go on to the next news thing, which will be Bloodline Champions, which surprisingly has news. I know the last time we talked about him was I think episode 2, but no, it was episode 1. I don't remember. But they're releasing a new Bloodline named the Headhunter, who is a melee DPS, I believe. Screw it. Well, let's go over the abilities now. Oh, sorry. Okay, so his basic attack deals damage as well as applies a dot. That's interesting. Oh, I'm not getting used to this UI. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Twin Death. He throws his scythes in an arc, dealing magic damage. No, just damage. And inflicting a gradual slow as well as a damage over time. Okay, so that's his basic projectile. His self buff is that he is Slayer Rush. It reduces all movement impaired effect. I can't speak today. It removes all movement impairing effects and increases movement speed by 60% for a short amount of time. Using any ability during Slayer Rush removes the effect. Hitting a menacing slash causes bonus damage and knocks the target back. Okay, so it pretty much just makes him rush. It makes him faster and removes effects. That's interesting, but it also gives him a bonus damage on his basic attack. Interesting. Not exactly crazy, but we'll see how it is. Harvest Blood is his I forget what that is. It's another ability he has. Deals 80 damage and heals himself for a lot of health and slightly knocks target back. Consumes any of his dots that are applied on the target and deals extra damage and resets the cooldown of this ability and can heal for a maximum amount of 180 health. Okay. So pretty much you apply a dot and then you can use it to heal yourself later on. That's interesting. Ferocious Strike is his target ground ability. He leaps towards the target location and strikes in melee, dealing damage and inflicting his dot. This ability can be used twice in a row if used a second time within 2 seconds. Okay, so this is similar to the I forget his name, but there's another Bloodline in the game that has a double leap where he can leap twice in a row if he needs to. So that's interesting. And that also applies the dot so that you can heal with Harvest Blood. And his stance ability is Enrage, which negates the next projectile melee or direct hit area damage attack directed at the Headhunter within 1 second. Negating an attack removes all movement impairing effects. The Headhunter charges towards the cursor location and strikes in melee, dealing damage, and stunning and inflicting his dot. Damage increases with distance dashed. Okay, so pretty much you get really pissed, and if somebody hits you within the next second, you charge at your cursor and own their face. That's cool. And his ultimate is Headhunt. He throws 5 deadly scythes over a certain amount of time, each dealing damage and applying the dot and knocking the target back. Okay, so that seems actually just like the Gunner's ultimate. But then again, I haven't played the game, so I can't really tell you how he plays. But that's actually pretty interesting. Excuse me. He looks really cool. I gotta give him that. I do love the art style for Bloodline Champions. So if you could check that, that guy looks really, really cool. Um, so that means that there's one more melee DPS than there are any other class, but that doesn't really affect balancing at all. It's just, it's excuse me, it's just a thing to point out. So that means that they'll be releasing new heroes. I thought they were kind of done for a while, but it seems that they're still on this nice track of releasing new content, which is good. Good for the game overall. And on that note, we're going to be transitioning over to Heroes of Newerth. Here you go. Happy Valentine's Day, guys. I forgot to tell you, but Heroes of Newerth came to remind me. It is the Cupid patch for Heroes of Newerth 2.5.1. There is the free-to-play roster, and they added one, excuse me, new all avatar, which is Succubus. No, Succubus is all avatar, which is Cupid, and I've seen him in game, and it looks pretty cool. And they nerfed Berserker's base health regen. Um, no, no, not nerfed. They buffed it. Excuse me. This is actually in line with a buff that they had a while ago for melee DPS or melee heroes in general. What they did was, at the time, ranged heroes were really dominating the scene. So what they did was they made all melee heroes have increased health regen, and they increased it from 0.25 to 125. I mean 125. Excuse me, 1.25 health per second, which was a great buff. It helped the game a lot. It made melee carries a lot more of a viable choice. But it seems like they released the Berserker and forgot to add that to him. So that's a good thing that they changed that. Oh, Nighthound can no longer pounce to power-ups. That doesn't seem very game-breaking. It is interesting, though. Okay. But that's not it. We do have more news from Heroes of Newerth front. We have the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse assaulting Heroes of Newerth. This is kind of an event almost for Heroes of Newerth. They're releasing 4 alt avatars for different heroes based on the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. And they've already released 2. One of them being for War Beast, it's the Horseman of War, which you can see there, and for Pestilence is the Horseman of Pestilence. I don't actually think there's a Horseman of Pestilence. I think they took some intellectual what do you call it? Creative license. I don't know. They changed it around a little bit. It's not exactly true to the 5 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, but they look pretty cool. 4, excuse me. I'm gonna get a lot of shit in the comments for that. 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. So right now they have War, who's for War Beast, mind you, and Pestilence. They're both very interesting heroes, both very interesting looking all avatars. You can check them out in game by looking at these 2 links I'll have in the description of the video. But that's not all. There's also a 3rd piece of news for Heroes of Newerth, and that is the upcoming hero. They have a teaser here, and his name is Draconis. That's a horrible name. Oh my god. I would swear that S2 has 12-year-olds on the writing staff. But let's get beyond that. The little bit of text they have here says, the ancient guardian arose, stirring from the centuries of slumber. Really? Does every dragon story have to do with it being in centuries of slumber? Guild Wars 2, fucking Heroes of Newerth, World of Warcraft, every fantasy novel ever. Why are dragons always sleeping? Why can't they just be awake? I never understood this cliche. But I'm done with that. La 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 la. By the cries of help from its creator, the World Tree. He slowly shook the treasure loose from his scales and took flight. The demons would soon find that even they could burn in the flames of Draconis, the Great Worm. Okay, so he's a big dragon. That's pretty much all they're saying. He's a oh no, that's not all they're saying. Uh-oh. Excuse me. He's a fragile ranged agility carry hero that specializes in area denial, blanketing the entire battlefield in flames and melting foes unfortunate enough to be caught within. He's a crafty little dragon. Little? Really? Little? That will be sure to punish those foolish enough to attempt chasing him down. Okay, that sounds good. These are his ability icons. Dragon Flame, Blazing Flight, Fire Barrage and Cataclysmic Assault. Let's make a little bit of a, well, if Noe was here, this would be a lot more fun, but I'm going to kind of speculate a little bit. Um, and next week, we'll see if I was right. Flames, Dragon Flame is going to be some nuke. Blazing Flight is going to be his movement ability. Fiery Barrage is going to be a secondary nuke, and Cataclysmic Assault is going to be a big nuke. Wow, I'm good. Damn, I'm awesome. Okay. Um, One thing I have to point out here is it's kind of weird that he's a ranged agility hero. Almost seems a little bit like Jakiro from Dota. I would expect him to be some sort of intelligence nuker by the looks of his icons and the fact that he's a giant fucking dragon. Could you see this guy being at all agile? Maybe I'm being too cynical. I don't know. Okay, well, that's pretty much it for the news this week, guys. Sorry for the delay once again. It took some time to figure what things out, and actually I have made some little technical advances to the show. Unfortunately, no, I was studying today, but that's all right. What else do I have to say? Anything quick? Oh, if you're gonna send us any suggestions or any news articles or any tips or anything, you can email them to aosstation@gmail.com, or you can send them to us as a private message on YouTube, or you can write them in the comments. Um, the show airs, it should air every either Sunday or Monday, and if we're really late, Tuesday. In this case, it's going to be up on Tuesday, but we're going to try to get it out on Sunday or Monday. If that doesn't happen, then I apologize, but we are both at school, so we're doing the best we can with the free time that we're given us, that we have. Fuck it, never mind. I don't even speak English anymore. Okay, guys, that's it. I will see you guys next week. Bye.